We're going to start here with a population problem here. And then what I wanted to do is kind of just look at like words like this where it says a half, okay? When we start, we always write out Y, A, C, and X. We're starting with 96,000 birds, okay? So that's my starting value. The population is decreasing at a rate of half per year. So half is written as 0.5. I can go through the process of, or I can say 50%. Let's go that way. 50%, 100 minus 50 is going to give me 50. Move the decimal place twice, 0.5. Or you can just know when it says half that I can just write 0.5 and then you're basically set. How many birds will be left after a decade? 10 years. Now I can just go ahead and calculate this guy here. Now, here's the one part about this that's weird with population problems. So if I go 0.5 to the power of 10 times it by 96,000, I get something along the lines of y is equal to 93.75. Now, a lot of people will look at that and think that they round up because it's just the way we've done things. But it's a population problem. You can't have 0.75% of a bird, although the complaints in Renfrew would suggest that that's the way some of the buckets look, and that's the outrage that they leave on Facebook. But that being aside, we're always going to round down to 93. Okay, so the actual value, and this is going to come into play with population problems, right? When you do a C1, that to be accurate, there's 93 birds that are going to be left. Now, just to skip into some financial questions here, this one is easily my favorite in terms of understanding the differences and complexities of this guy. So Kyle is deciding whether he wants a Toyota or a Honda. So I make two different parts of this, right? We're trying to compare the price of two different cars. So the Toyota on here is valued at $18,500 when you buy it. It decreases at 7% a year. Now it's important that it says per year, and you can write that next to here if you want, because that's just going to help when we get down to the time. The next sentence says the Honda is valued at $21,000. $21,000. That one's not on there?
Right here, no, it is.
Yeah, okay. So $21,000 is what we have. The rate is 0.6%, but every month. So here I wrote years, here I wrote month. That's going to be important later on. Now it says here, Kyle's goal is to sell it for the most after 4 years. So 4 years, this guy here is going to have to change. We're going to have to make this match the actual months. So 4 years is 48 months. Whereas the time on this guy, because the rate was per year, I can just leave that one as 4. So that's the only part about this is that this is complicated. It's depreciating. So now we're going to go through the finding my C part. So 100 minus 7 gives me 93. Move the decimal twice. The value I'm going to work with is 0.93. Okay. For the 0.6, looks a little weird. 100 minus 0.6 gives me something like, stop moving, 99.4. Move the decimal place twice. That gives me 0.994. So that's the value I'm going to use to plug in. So on this side, it's going to be 18,500, 0.93 to the power of 4. But over here, it's going to be 21,000, 0.994, but to the power of 48. So that's the only part about this guy that gets like relatively confusing. Times get changed. It's decreasing, so I'm subtracting. 0.6 seems like a very small number, but remember it is per month. So 0.994, power 48, I'll do the Honda first and multiply that by 21,000. And it's something like $15,731.34. The Toyota, on the other hand, is $13,838.96. So in terms of, we can debate the merits of what the question's actually asking, but if I rephrased it as which car is going to be worth more 4 years later, let's just stick to that, then we could say Honda. The way it's phrased here, I'd be able to come in and clarify to you what makes the most sense, because there's a couple of ways to look at it. If he wants to sell it for the most amount of money, it's kind of a weird phrasing. As in, is he worried about which one lost the most over that time period, which one gained the most, or not gained, but which one lost the most, or which one is worth the most at the end? Again, that would be something I'd be able to like kind of reframe or rephrase. The rest of these are all kind of roughly following the same kind of logic. The only thing is something like this here. That $1,500 guitar might throw some people off. I'm not going to solve this one, but in terms of YACX, when I decode it, I'm investing $650. Okay, it is gaining 3.6% every month. 3.6, I'm going to write month. That's going to turn into 1.036. And the time is 2 years later, so 2 years turns into 24 months. The 1,500 is what I'm going to compare my answer to, right? They're pulling the money out of the savings account and seeing if it does give you 1,500. In fact, while we're here, let's just do it real quick. 24. It's something like $15,118 in a certain amount of cents. What is it? 96? So then, yes, they could buy it if they put that amount of money into it. But the 1,500, don't think of it as an A value. It's what we're comparing it to.